Hello, welcome everybody. This is Daniel here, once again from Wix, Velo, Integrations, DM Network Solutions. Today we are going to be working on a inventory system that we have been working on for quite some time now. And today we're just going to go over some of the changes we have made and showing you our related database. Okay, so let's get into the action here. So I am going to come in and show you what we have so far. All right. Okay. So we go once again here to our website. We can see we have our inventory page here. And we're going to go ahead and open up our database. Okay. And just to start off, we have three levels to this database. Okay. So after thinking about it, um, we're gonna have the inventory. So this is a collection that's gonna have a title. It's gonna have an item. So the item has the name of the item, the description, the quantity per pack, and some other details. And then we have a location. So the location is gonna be, we actually have two locations. We have the main location, and then we have a satellite location, right? And then we have a records. Okay, so records is gonna have all the counts. It's gonna have the counts, the original count when we add the item. It's also gonna keep records of when that record changes. For example, if we move inventory from one place to the other, it's gonna have a record that takes that total amount, and then it's gonna subtract or add to the original record, and then it's gonna run a total. Okay, so this record is gonna show us a history of all the changes for that particular item in the database, and we can see whenever there's a change, whenever there's we add to that particular inventory item, or we remove, or when we move it, or any other cases. Okay. So if we go back, so these are related items. So if we go back to our main inventory, um, so see we have inventory, then we have inventory item, and then we have inventory location, and then we have inventory record. Okay, so it's four separate databases or collections. So if we look into the inventory item, here we say it has a name. We can add a photo. We can add a category. We can add a type. So category and type. Okay. So category, um, right now we have two categories, which is our food pantry. So that's one category. And then we have diapers. We have diapers. So food pantry, diaper assistance. So those are our two main categories. Then we have type. So type is gonna be like what kind of item is it? Is it can beans? Beans in cans? Is it beans in bags? Is it um, rice? Is it any other type of item? Okay, and then we can add a description. Then we can have a measure. So the measure is gonna be um, is it fluid ounces, or is it pounds? So we have two different measures. Then we also have a check mark here to categorize if this item um, qualifies as TFAP. So that's food we get from the government. So we got to keep that separated. And then we can from our measure, we have volume. So 16 ounces, 24 ounces, whatever the volume is. So the volume can also probably be the weight. So if it's pounds, 5 pounds. Then we have the pack count. The pack count is if it's a pack of 6 or 12 or 24 of the same item in a case. We got 10 cases of 24. That's 240 items in 10 cases of 24 packs. So we put 24 here, and then we can put an item number like a barcode. Then we have container type. So that will be if it's a can, if it's a jar, if it's a bag. And then we have our, okay, so items have dynamic pages also. So when you click on the item, it shows you a dynamic page of that item. Okay. And then we have per item and then all of the items. Okay. So that's like a URL. This is all created by the Wix. All right. So there's our item. Then let's show you our location. So right now we have 2 locations. So each item is going to belong to a location. So we have St. Cloud, we have Orlando, and there's our address, there's our status. Here we'll have who's the main contact or the contact number and who's the person to contact. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Okay, and then we got our inventory record. Okay, so this is this is related to the inventory item. Okay, so here it's gonna have an action. Um, we can put a date when it was last changed, or we can put a related. We can put an ID of a related of the last change record, maybe. Then we can have the amount of cases. Okay, so we can like organize things like this. So we can put our pack count. So this is gonna be that number we got from the packs. It's gonna send from here. So the reason we have it here again is probably so we can do the multiplication, you know, the formula. So we can get the total count. But we have our pack count, so that'll be 16 cans, you know, how many cases, and then if we have any single items that are left over. So that's kind of like the remainder. And then we have the total items here. So that will be like the multiplication plus the single items gives us a total. And then once again, if that item is TFAB, and then here is just this gets created from the multiple many um, relationship here. Okay. So now we're gonna try to tie this into our system here. So this was a form I was working on earlier. So here we're gonna be able to pick our location. And then here we can add a new item. So this new item, um, so I wrote down all of the fields we need for this. So we got item name. We can add a photo. Photo, we'll handle that in a separate video. Um, okay, so we got category. We got food type. We need to add a field for description. So we'll just duplicate this one. Call this one description. So what I like to do is whenever I create fields, you know, we put a field title. You can also include a placeholder if that field is required to create the record or not. So this is useful when you do validation. So anything that's marked as required here, if it's not saved, or if there's nothing in the field and you have some type of validation, you can include messages with that, and you can also use the validation tools that Wix has. Okay, and then you can also, like, if there's any regular expressions that you want to create for that. And then the other thing I do is over here at the bottom where my picture is. Let me move myself over here. Okay, so here in this side, we have the ID. Okay, so I always, if it's some type of input field, I always identify it with what that input is. That way, when we're coding, it's easier to work with these items. Okay, so I'm first gonna change the title. We'll put description. You can type in item description, and then the ID I can put how did I type it in here? Okay, option item name. Hmm. Up, up, up. Hmm. All right, so I'm just gonna follow what I had up description. So if you have this, hmm, if you have already like a style, like anything that's text, yeah, put txt. If it's an option, um, I start with option. We got category, type. So I'm gonna change this to just type, more universal. Okay, we got pack measure, and then seeing the choices, we have floor ounces and pounds. Okay, so that's what we have so far. We have the checkbox here for TFAB. Okay, so now we need volume. Okay, so volume is a number. So we can just take this one here and we'll reorganize this a little bit. So we do up volume. Okay. Then we update this volume. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we need. We got pack count. Okay, we got pack measure. We got pack count. So in the pack count here, we see we have some counts here. And then we also have a other. So this you can make an if statement, and if you choose other, maybe you can make this field become something, or it can make another field appear and you can use that. So that requires some logic. Okay, and then we have item number. So for that one, we'll just grab this one here. To duplicate, you can do Control D, that duplicates. So we're gonna put item number, or you can do UPC, but you don't. So you can do option item number. Okay. All right, and then container type. Okay, so that's the last one. So we'll take this measure one and we'll go ahead and do container type, container type. Okay, and then you got manage choices. So you can do can, jar, bag, box, 3-letter word. Okay. There's probably a few other ones, but let's keep it like that. Okay, so those are our containers. All right. And then here we have how many cases, how many singles, how many total. And then this one is kind of like a result of the math. Gives us a total. All right. All right. We got a message down here. We got another message down here. So we are totally redesigning this whole thing here. The way that I had this coded before was it was kind of like a batch to add batch amounts, but this is now going to become to add an item. Okay, so I'm still trying to decide if I want to just add just the items without the counts, or if you're going to do the whole thing at once, because we can create the record first, and then we can create the counts. So, you know, what I was really looking to do was this to become sort of like a form that you can have like a table, and you can have like information on the top that you're inputting, and then as you inputting these items, it creates like a work order or like a batch. You're adding all these items in one setting. Now, if it's the first time adding the items, then you just add them all together. But I'm looking to see how we can use this reuse. So if you already have, uh, let's say cans of black beans, you're not re-adding the same items over and over, but you're picking from the items that you already have, and then you just keep adding the inventory to it, right? So the way that we work with inventory is kind of tricky. We're getting like donations, or we can get like individual items. So sometimes they're not all packed. Like we don't get like big packs of stuff yet. But if we do get big packs of stuff, something like this will be beneficial too, because you don't have to count each can, but you can count all the packs, and that way a bulk amount. You can enter that bulk amount. Okay. But so what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna just add individual items. Okay. So we're gonna add an item first, and then once we have the items, then we can add the counts. Okay. So I'm gonna move these counts below. So this first field up here is just gonna be for these items. Okay. So let's make some space here. So I'm gonna yeah, I'll drag this whole thing down. Okay, so we'll drag this down. And then we're gonna drag this down a little bit. Okay, so we got some space. All right, so we're gonna add our item. So we got an image here. So we have a location. We'll just leave that there at the top. We're gonna drag all this stuff down. And we're actually gonna put a box. Okay, so let's put a box. So, I like working with boxes because you can put stuff in a box and then you can hide that whole box and work with it in different parts like that. So I always name my boxes. So the same way, you always name it add item. Okay. So we'll call this add item box, and we're gonna make it a pretty big box. And it takes this whole space here. Okay, so we're gonna start with the name. Okay, got a description, got item number. So this is like all description stuff. And then we have container type. Then what I like to do is kind of like keep all the boxes around the same size, depending what they are, but keep it a good number, and maybe the words that you can read the words also. So I just try, see what works. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, so 160. All right, so we got name, item number. Let's put this kind of like on this side. Item number could be like something maybe if there's a functionality that we can do to turn on the camera and scan an item. If it has a barcode, maybe we can create item numbers that way and kind of like tie them into, if they're the same brand, they should have like pretty much the same item number perhaps maybe. And then if you tab, like if you type in here and you want to tab to the right, the way that you can do that here in the Wix is you have to like group items together like that. And when you group them, the tab goes in that order. Okay, so that's how you keep tab order. In the mobile, um, like if you take a look at the mobile version, you always got to go in and adjust everything because now your screen is not as wide, so everything's kind of like stacked on top of each other. But see that if you group stuff, it will remain in that tab order. Okay. Now, if you don't group anything, then it's gonna take on whatever's below. Okay. And then let's go back. All right. So we got our container type. This is all descriptive. This also too category. So we're gonna put all these 160 wide. Food type. Pack count and the pack measure. We got volume. Now these are just numbers, so they don't really have to be as wide or anything. And then we have this EFAB also checkbox. Okay, so now we just need to kind of like organize this better, and we can put a button here, and we can even put a clear if we want it. Put it clear. Let's see. Let's do a smaller button. Okay. All right. 28. All right. So here are our buttons. Yeah, and what we can do is I'm gonna add another box here for our count. Whoop, so okay, so we got a little box here. Just put this here, and this is probably gonna be our count. We'll work on that later. Okay, very cool. Okay, we got some text here also. So probably gonna add that text over here. Okay, so let's organize this better. So we got container type, which is drawer. Okay, so we'll put that over here. So we got food category, that goes first. Food type, okay. And we have our pack count. Then we can do our container type, pack measure, and volume. Okay, then we can put a message over here. Maybe something like that. Okay, so there's our form. All right. So there's two ways that we can tie this in. We can do it the easy way, which is using a data set. So if we go here to our, we can go here to add. And it's down here at the bottom. It says content. And see, we can do data set. So we got our data set here. And we always rename this stuff. So we are gonna connect. We are connecting to item, right? Okay, so the thing with data set, see, it connects to one data set, and we're gonna do write, and that's it. Okay, so add item data set. Okay, and then I've named this the same also here. You can name it the same. That way you have the same in both. Okay, so we got our data set. So we can just simply start connecting our things here. So we got item name. Okay, so see, description is probably going to be longer than that. So let's see. So sometimes you can make some of these fields like auto populate, and you can just keep them hidden or not have a field for it. For example, as you are creating the item, you're gonna obviously you can put a name on it, but then as far as you picking all these other categories, that becomes part of the name or the description, right? So that way you are describing the item you added by the type of options you're selecting, and then it's going to have a pretty good description, or it could be part of the name also, like maybe you just put like black. You can just type in black beans, and then it will take the pack measure of 24 pack, and then it can say can, and then like 16 ounces cans, something like that. So all that will become the item name. So when you're looking through the list, it's a more descriptive item name, right? And then that can become your what you use as the main key. So let's see if we go here, because this is the thing when you are in another collection and you are trying to find that item, it's gonna go by this item name, and then it ties into the ID, right? But the item name, this is your, what do they call this? Oh, primary key, right? So you can make anything your primary key. Like if you go here, right? Make primary. See, make primary. So maybe you can make that description your primary key, and the description is nothing that you fill out, but something that gets generated, and it's more descriptive than you just typing black beans. You know what I mean? So that way, if you had to pick from a list, it has more of the information about that item that you can make a more informed decision when adding the next item, because it tells you what it is, what's the pack count, is it cans, is it bags, so it gives you a better description automatically, and it's more consistent. So if you make all these fields required, then whenever you add a new item, this description is going to automatically be generated, and it's going to be more descriptive. Okay. All right. So enough of that. But let's say this item description is just going to be a description, right? And maybe we'll make the automatic thing be the item name. So we'll have an item number here at the beginning. Actually, okay. So let's leave it how it was. So I don't want to complicate it too much right now. So cool thing is you can undo. Things are back to normal. All right, great. So since this is an example, we're just gonna go ahead and connect it to the data. So this is gonna be the item name. This is gonna be description. It's gonna be item number. This one's gonna be category. So it's gonna be type. This is gonna be our pack count. This one's gonna be the container type. This one's gonna be measure. And this one's gonna be the volume. Okay. And then this is gonna be submit. And this one's gonna be revert. Is it? Or we can just make this one clear everything. Because revert is something else. Revert is like undoing an ad. So so this is gonna be a button. Okay. Okay, this one's gonna be TFAT checkbox. Okay. All right. And then we can have this thing throw us some messages here. Success, failure. Okay, and then when it's submitted, it just stays there. That's it. So just add these messages here. Okay, so, and then this is some other message we got. This might just give us that description that we were talking about. All right. Okay, and then here we're just gonna have this other part. And then we can name these buttons something else too. We can duplicate this. All right, so this is gonna be kind of giving us a recap of the item here. Okay. All right, so this one, let's say this is gonna you can duplicate anything pretty much. I'm gonna name this one okay, so this will be a record. How? How? All right. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Huh? That's the great question. That is a good question. All right. This is a record for this. So does the item have a record? It has to be related to it. Can't be related separate. Up. So maybe that's what's happening here. Okay, so let's take a look once again at our databases because I just realized something because we have our inventory. Yeah, I can see these are so then records. How does it relate to the item? Let's try to do this. Black beans. Item. So see, you got your item, you got your location, then you got your record. So it shouldn't be item records. And see, we have our item, black beans. Food, pantry, description, theme, measure, mm, mm. 4, 7, clear type, and open this, that gets auto generated. Title also, and mm, 40. Okay, so let's see if this is even possible. So unless item, let's see, this doesn't make much sense right here. So how does this look? What does this look like? So would these records be better if it was inside the items? What about if the location was also inside the item? Because this is kind of like in the main level. So let's see if we now is the time to make sure this database thing is the way we want it, because if we try to change this later, it's going to be a big mess. So let's say we add a new field, which is um, action, call that actions, and oh, because there's another one. It's called inventory items, and that's from your products. That's like if you sell stuff. Okay. All right. So we got our inventory record, and now we tied it into our item. We got inventory item. We got action. Mhm. Okay, this was the same thing I had added earlier. Inventory item. Okay, so this will be called something else. It won't be like black beans. It'll be like added 10, remove 10. Okay, so that makes more sense. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. We don't need that one. So the actions won't be called like the actual item, but it will be called what it did, right? Okay, so I think we have this where we want to be now. Now this should have removed. Okay, so now how does this go all the way up here? So I don't need this other table perhaps. Is it a multi-reference? Single reference? If we move it, it's gonna make a copy. What the heck happened here? This doesn't make any sense, just having one thing to it. Oh, and the reason it says name inventory type item one again. Okay. What? All right. So I think all those other inventories was kind of like over, because the reason you want a joint table like that is if many items have many owners and many owners have many items, but talking about the same. So here we're talking about counts, so we don't want two places having the same count for the same items. I think that's what some of the confusion was. All right, so we got action, inventory record, and then we got here. All right, so I might have to do this one more time. I'm gonna say one more time to get rid of that number one here. Yeah, 'cause that's gonna confuse everything. Let's do this one more time. Delete that. So that's the same relationship that's coming from here. So if you delete it from one, it deletes it from the other side too. So okay, now we're gonna go back. So there shouldn't be no actions in this one. And we'll create that action again, and it will have the right name now. So let's see. Okay, so we got location. All right, so we're gonna do this one more time. Action. and it's going to be a multi-reference to inventory record. All right, so what this should do is it's going to take the actions. All right, so see here, let's call it inventory 2. This is so awesome. We spent an hour just figuring out this database thing, but I think we should be able to get where we need to get. Okay, so we saved it. We're gonna save it one more time. Call it action. Inventory records. Okay. Okay. Inventory 3. No. All right, so we'll just have to deal with this. Action. Thing. Field is killing me. Can't be changed. All right. Let's do black beans. Okay. Well, you know what? This got to go the other way. Yeah, because this is just going to see all the. No, 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 no. This ain't going to work. Okay, so what we need to do is we got to add. Okay. To item. see, you can only pick one. Oh wow. Okay, so I think what we need to do is, okay, so all right, so we're gonna leave our item like this, but see, this is what it's supposed to be, that inventory record. This should have been this. Okay, so or the record can just be the math part. Inventory record and inventory. Um, location. Okay, and then you just pick item, the location, and this could be things. Oh, so we still add our items, and then we get our record count. This one that says inventory, not needed. We got inventory item, inventory location, and inventory record. So that's going to be all the records here. All right, so let's see how we can add. Does that work? What else I got here? Got location. Action. Connect to a list. Oh, wow. Wait, so action. Oh, you can connect it to a list there too. Whoa. What these actions are. Mm, mm. Okay, so that's it. We don't have anything else. Yeah. That's the good thing I like about Wix is they're constantly adding new stuff all the time. You do not get tired of learning something new with Wix because they're always constantly changing it. All right, great. Okay, and then here's our summary. Okay, so tons of coding left to do. All right, let's add these numbers here at the bottom. Add that stuff at the top. All right, so I think we are almost ready to test it out. Okay, great. So let's try to test this out. This is add item page. So we're gonna add red beans back. Red beans. Server. T5. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so there we go. We added was added. Okay, so we go here. Okay, so we gotta make this kind of refresh here. So there's a function you can do when you submit something. You can make something refresh, and it added it twice. Why? Huh. This doesn't do anything yet. Okay, so look at this. See here, we had to run a function first for this to find this. Now there's you can just populate it. Okay, so let's say it's 4, 10 cases, 0, and 240. Oh, can't type in this. Okay. Okay, it's been submitted. All right. So let's see what's happening. So yeah, that total count, it's probably earlier it was read only field. So all right. So, so this is the one I just added. Has no title. We got this add action. Total items. It was nothing. That wasn't even there. And the location was not in there neither. Does not match the field type reference. Hmm. So if we look at the settings on this, we have read only, which, you know, it could be a calculation. We got home numbers. Get this location thing, what happened here? Oh, what happened here? Okay, it says the field was changed and no longer supported. Please. Okay. Now, right, so now it's going to automatically update that. Um, okay, so we are progressing a little bit. So now we just got to go ahead and make this more smart. Right now we can add our items to our inventory. But we probably want to automate some of the things like the item name and allowing it to refresh so we can pick the items better. I just wonder what happens. I was there twice. These records were in there twice, but they're not really. Delete this. We got location here too. Let's get rid of location here because we got the location in the other side. Container type, number. So this is just everything about this item. Yeah, item and location. do okay, so maybe it's when I refresh. Why is it adding it twice? You know what? When I hit this add item, let's see what that's, because that might still have some code with this. Add to batch. Okay, so let's see. We got. Oh, because you know why? Yeah, all this code here. Okay, so all we need to do is let's rename this. Add item. Okay, it was trying to. Unique. All right, so we got a whole bunch of code in here that is making this mess up. Okay, so here's our refresh here. Yeah, so earlier we had this all manually saving here. Okay, so that solves that mystery of the double adding. It was doing something weird there. It was triggering this other button. Okay, so now if we do red potato, okay, some of these we gotta make it not required. Vegetable. Okay, 6 pack. It's bad. Pounds. 5 pounds. Okay, so let's see if that refresh. Nope. Okay, there's our red potatoes. We're gonna add to the green center. 6 pack. Cases. Okay, so all right, so we definitely have a lot of work to do. So far it's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and leave it at this for now. But as you can see, that's how you can do a relational database in our Wix program. In our next video, we'll probably have all this working properly and we'll see what we needed to fix and ways that you can get your inventory or whatever type of database you want to create in your Wix working much better. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Please share comments, subscribe, let us know how we can improve this.